Hello and welcome to my watch reviews. This video is going to be about these three faux patina San Martin watches you see in front of you now, and they are heavily homaged from some very well-known brands. So if homage watches are not your bag, then perhaps this video is not for you as well. I will tell you the reasons why I make videos like this. This video is of course sponsored by San Martin. They have provided me the watches for review, which you will get my honest opinion. I do like San Martin. I think the quality they offer for the prices, I don't think anybody can beat them, to be honest with you. Okay, a lot of their designs are borrowed, and I wish they would make some more of their own designs, because some of their own designs that I've seen so far have been really good. The other reason I do this, of course, at the moment there is an AliExpress 11/11 sale. It's the biggest sale of the year. Watches like this are heavily discounted. If I do a video like this and some of you guys click on the links below and buy something from AliExpress, or buy one of these watches from AliExpress, then I do earn a small commission, and commission is vital at the moment. This channel is still very new. I don't have any ad revenue because I haven't reached the criteria yet, and I do need to raise some funds. Videos take a long time to produce. I still need equipment to do that, and so justifiably for me, doing some videos like this will bring some revenue to the channel and some exposure to the brand, and everybody wins really. So there we go, just trying to be honest. That's how it's going to go. So this video is going to be broken down into three sections. Obviously I'm going to try and review each watch separately. At the end we'll do the regulating, seeing how good they are on the Timegrapher, and then we'll conclude. So we're going to start off with this one then, and this one's homaging a very well-known Omega, which is still in production. As it stands, this is on sale on AliExpress right now for £189.66, which offers a pretty decent value. It's also available in a blue dial. I personally prefer the faux patina. I've got a thing about faux patina. I think it's just because I come from this vintage background, so I do like a watch looking vintage. The model number on this one is SN51G. I believe it's one of their older models, maybe around for a year or so, and it's back in the days where San Martin didn't really have their identity sorted out, because you've got the San Martin script on the dial, which I actually quite like, but you've got a different logo on the crown, different logo on the case back, and now you've got the clasp that they use on all the models, which has also got their new logo on. So 4 different logos all on this one particular model. But if we see past that and we look at that dial is very nice. Of course the design is borrowed, but there we go. It is a layered dial, so the indices you can see there are recessed below the main dial, which gives it a lovely contrast. I'm also liking the font they're using at 12, 3, 6 and 9. You can take or leave the San Martin script. I do believe you can get this with the logo or no logo dial option, so you can have that removed if you don't particularly like it. You can see there as well, it's offering 200 meters of water resistance. That is untested. One day I will use my pressure tester and test some of these to prove whether they are completely as they say they are, but I've no reason to doubt it. To be fair, it's a new watch, it's got good seals. Onto the bezel, it's 120 click unidirectional, it's got a ceramic insert and it's equally loomed, so very good standard there. I have got one criticism though. The bezel is very grippy, but that grip is also quite sharp, so if you rub your hands across the teeth or over the top of the crystal and onto the teeth, they are very sharp. It's not going to cut you, but I believe they could have been deburred a little bit better just to give it that nicer finish and feel. This watch has got some nice proportions to fit most people's wrists. The case diameter is 39.5 millimeters. The bezel does overhang slightly, so it actually makes it 41 millimeters in total. Lug to lug is 48 mil, so again that's going to fit on many wrists. The thickness of the watch is 13.5 millimeters, and weirdly the lug width is 21 mil. Why they've made it 21, I have absolutely no idea, but they have. This one comes with a nice piece of domed sapphire crystal. It's actually got some AR coating on the underside as well, which will help with any reflection in the sunshine. And that takes me nicely on to the finish of the watch. Now, San Martin again are always known for their high quality finish, and this one again meets that criteria. Got some lovely brushing on the sides. The center links are brushed very well as well, but then you've got these polished outer links, and the lugs are polished along with that little chamfer you can see on the edge there. Now, those high polished sides of that bracelet, I am not a fan. They really reflect, they play havoc trying to film this review, but they reflect on your wrist a lot. They attract loads and loads of fingerprints, and no, for me it would have just been better just to have been brushed completely. Flip the watch over though, we've got a great case back. Look at that, we've got an embossed shark on a shot blasted background. We've then got San Martin, we've got the model number, we've got the water resistant, sapphire crystal, Japan movement, everything written on there. That's the complaint I've had about every San Martin I've seen, because none of the case backs have anything written on it. Yet this old model has everything. So they've gone backwards. They need to redo this and put that on their newer models. Seriously, you'll see in the other two models I'm going to review shortly. So follow the bracelet down to the end, we get to the clasp. It's their standard clasp with the double push release on the side. 4 micro adjust, perfect. You can't criticise this clasp at all, it's brilliant. Two things left to show. First of all, the lume shop. This is C3 Superluminova, and this is a degradation test over 10 minutes. And I think the lume looks fantastic, to be honest with you. I love the way the bezel lights up there, and it doesn't lose a lot. It's not burning as brightly because it's that yellow colour, but it's very, very acceptable. So I'll finish the review of this one off with a wrist roll. Here we go. That's what the watch looks like on my 7-inch wrist. I think it sits quite nicely. Still can't get over those polished surfaces, as you can see. Bit too reflective, but there you go. That's this model. Right, so we've still got these two to review. I've put them on the screen at the same time for a few reasons. Firstly, they are both homaging Tudor models that are current at the moment, and Tudor to me is a brand that's quite aspirational to me personally. It's a brand that I would consider and want to own eventually. A nice, probably a Tudor Black Bay, and I think it's achievable. So where do I sit with these? You know, I do like that brand. However, I can try these and wear these and get used to them, and it will introduce me to knowing which one eventually to buy. So in that respect, that's how I can view homage watches a little bit better. That said, these two are also very, very similar. So San Martin have created two watches using basically exactly the same watch case and exactly the same bracelet, pretty much the same dimensions. It's going to have the same crystal on. The only difference is going to be the dial and of course the two bezels. Now they have upped their game with the finish on these two by a long shot, but certainly they're trying to knock out models very quickly by just repurposing parts already produced. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily, as I'm sure other brands do that all the time. However, it doesn't give the watch its own individuality. They do look a bit similar, and for a micro brand you want to stand out, and really I think every model needs to look completely different from the other one. So this one's up next, and it's a particular favourite of mine. I like the plain look about it, and it wears really well to me. Now this one has a very interesting name. It's called the Vintage Explore Climbing Series. So I don't know what to make of that. Am I going to climb and explore wearing this watch? I very much doubt it, but there you go. Typically as well with San Martin, they've got all their own numbers, model numbers, and this one is called the SN0107-G. So here's their listings, and you can see that the faux patina version is £206.49, which is pretty decent value for what you're going to get. Now the other two versions, which you'll see a picture of about now, they are slightly higher priced at £231.18. I have no idea why they're costing more, because at the end of the day they're exactly the same watch with the same movement, just different hand colour and dial colour. Okay, with the price out the way, let's get close in on this watch, and there's the dial, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's symmetrical, it's simple, it does what it needs to do, it tells the time very easily. I love the handset, not to everybody's taste I know, but I like that arrow hour hand. I like the splash of red as well, of course, on the second hand, gives it a bit of colour. San Martin have executed it very well, but of course no points to them because it isn't their design. Let's go through the sizes then. So the case diameter is 38mm, as I think I've already said. 38mm is my perfect size. I think it's brilliant. Certainly if you're coming from the vintage world, 38mm is probably considered quite big actually. But I like this size. I think it will fit most people's wrists too. The lug to lug reflects that as well, because that is 46.7mm to be precise. And this has got female end links on it, which do protrude slightly, but it does help to fit the wrist better. The lug width on this one is 20mm, perfect again, not 21 like the other one. What on earth were they thinking of for 21? Still can't get it out of my head. The case thickness, well, this one is 12.3mm to be precise, and I think about 1mm to 1.5mm is the sapphire crystal that they've put on this. It's got some AR coating on it on the inside as well, but it does protrude possibly 1mm to 1.5mm above the bezel. Now, I said earlier that they've upped the game on the case finishing. Just look at this shot here and look at that bezel. So the bezel's got a brush finish on the top, but it's got polishing just around that chamfered edge, which is really, really well executed. And then you've got high polished on the chamfers on the case, and the rest of the case is brushed, but brushed really nicely. San Martin are known for their case finishing, and I'm always impressed, but I'm really impressed this time with these ones. It's a simple look, but it's been executed very, very well. So again, just look from this angle, you can see those brush lines are all really nicely done. That bezel's got a circular brush in, it goes round the top. Just those little touches like that make all the difference. And for a £200 watch, honestly, I don't think you're going to see much better than this. The side of the bracelet links as well are all highly polished. You've got the milled clasp with the same shell as on all the San Martins now, which you saw on the previous watch. Flip the watch over though, and you can see here I've got both this one and the GMT. Case backs, plain as can be. Okay, it's simple, but I would still like to see some writing on there, model number, water resistance, a logo, anything really, just to jazz it up a bit. I know they can do it, we've seen it on the other model. So come on, San Martin, if you're watching, change your case backs, come on. So here's the engine that's driving this one, and of course it's the forever reliable NH35 from Seiko. Can't really go wrong with this movement. It's hand winding, it's hacking, it's automatic, it's got 24 joules, it's got 41-hour power reserve, so a hell of a lot packed into that. If it goes wrong, easy to service, or you throw it away and you buy a new movement. It is simple as that. Just doesn't look all that appealing. That's the only criticism I've got, other than it's also set badly from the factory as a rule. Time, of course, for the loom shot. There we go. This is 10 minutes of time lapse. As you can see, it's burning quite brightly, especially for these faux patinas. This is the brightest one I've seen. It's C3 Superluminova, so it does burn green. I know it's got a bluish tinge on the camera now, but that's just the way the camera works. And of course, let's finish off with the wrist roll. Here it is on my 7-inch wrist. I think it fits really nicely. I've said that already. Perhaps it shows in the video there. Look. So there we go. That's this one done. Right, so let's cover the last one in this triple review. Have I saved the best till last? I don't know really. I'll let you guys decide that. It's certainly a very nice looking watch, this one. And of course it is the GMT, so you can track another time zone. Kind of pointless for me. I don't track other time zones. Even if I go on holiday, I'm not really interested in what time it is back home. But it is a complication in watches, and I admire all complications nevertheless. The world just seems to have gone mad for GMT since Seiko came out with their NH34 movement. Now this one hasn't got the NH34 movement. This has got a Hangzhou Chinese movement, which is based on an ETA movement. Very nice looking thing indeed, but they've also now developed this model and put an NH34 movement in it at the same time, and to be honest, I don't know why they'd do that. The Hangzhou is a nicer looking movement, probably a better movement. It's also a higher beat one, so everything about it to me is better than the Seiko one, but of course Seiko is Japanese, potentially it's more reliable. How much is one of these GMTs? Well, it's £272.92 in the sale as of today. There's probably some coupons you can add to that to get that price down a little bit more as well. There is the white dial if you prefer. Personally, I think the black dial is the winner. And again, on this one, you can have logo, no logo. You can even have custom logo. So they provide you with lots of different services depending on the look of the watch that you want to create. So here's the dial close up. San Martin again get 0 points for design, but then we already know that, don't we? They've done it to a very high standard, as they always do. You can't really fault it, other than the patina is possibly still too yellow. I love the handsets on these, this snowflake type design. I like the orange accent as well on the GMT hand, so it obviously differentiates between the hour hand. The measurements on this one are pretty much the same as the other one, although the case diameter is 39mm, and that's purely because the bezel is protruding just that little bit more. I think you can actually see it in the video footage you're looking at now. The case thickness on this one is 12.7. It's up a little bit. It's probably got a higher crystal on this one to accommodate that bezel as well, and the lug to lug is about 48mm. As you can see, the case finishing is exactly the same as the previous model I've just showed, but look at the attention to detail again on that bezel. So you've got that highly polished edge, and then under the edge is actually brushed, but then look at the top. So you've got starburst grained finish. That is very difficult to execute, certainly to the level that these guys are doing it. And then obviously they've engraved the 24-hour markers on there and backfilled them with paint, but it is really well done. Cannot fault San Martin at all. I'm dying to, really, but you can't. It's executed well, so whoever is making their cases has got some good tooling and some good processes, and other brands really should take note about how well these guys are doing. I'll tell you what I'm finding interesting here though, is these last two models, so this one and the other one, are 100 meters of water resistance, which is good enough, I guess. All San Martin watches seem to have screw down crowns. This one is no exception. But when you look at that first watch we did, that is 200 meters of water resistance, and that also has a screw down crown. So why is the first one 200 and these both 100? And the only answer I can seem to come with, possibly at a push, it's the crystal and how they've fitted that, but I think it's more likely the case back. So the first one has got a proper screw down case back that you can actually use a tool to tighten it, whereas these ones have got the kind of Rolexy fitting, so you need either special spanners. And I've taken the case backs off all of these watches, and certainly this one and the previous one, I use a sticky ball to take it off, and they're not all that tight, to be honest with you. It's quite easy to undo them. So my conclusion is that the lack of water resistance is possibly the design of the case back, but I'm only surmising that. If you guys know a better reason, then please educate me. Leave the comments down below, because I'll be quite interested to hear your thoughts. So to set the GMT time, you're just going to pull the crown. You're going to unscrew the crown first, pull it to position 1, and it's anti-clockwise only, and you can see you can just going to set it to one of the hours on the 24-hour scale there to your choosing, and that is all it's going to be required. And then if you want to set the time, of course, you will see that it's always going to move in line with that hour, and that's how you track your second time zone. There is a way to track 3 time zones in theory on these sorts of GMTs. I've seen a video on it, but it's a little bit hard to explain, so I won't bother. So there we go. That is the GMT function on this watch. I don't really think there's much more I can say or show you about this particular model that I haven't on the previous one, because they are pretty much the same other than that bezel and dial. So I guess we'll just finish off with the loom shot and the wrist shot, and another 10-minute time lapse to see the degradation. C3 Superluminova. All the hands are loomed nicely. I like the diamond type loom shape on that GMT hand. It differentiates it between the hour hand even at night, which is possibly quite useful. Loom is burning nice and brightly. Finally, the wrist roll then. Here we go. See what you think of this one. I think it's still quite a nice, charming watch. So there we go. That's it. Let's get them on the bench. Let's get them on the Timegrapher and see just how good they really are. Right, time to test the engines inside these, see how powerful they are. I'm going to start with the GMT. So this has got a Chinese Hangzhou 6460 movement. From what I've been reading about it, it is actually quite a good movement. It is based on an ETA 2836, albeit with the GMT function rather than a standard three-hander, and it's also going to be beating at 28,800 vibrations an hour, so it's a bit of a high beat. Now I'm not sure of the lift angle on this one. I'm going to just leave it at 52 to start with, see if it's going to actually pick that up, and straight away it has. There we go. Now this watch I've actually worn personally for the last 2 days, so I know it is fully charged. And what are we seeing there? Well, you know, amplitude I guess is good. I don't know what the amplitude should be for this movement. The beat error is spot on. The rate is unacceptable to me. 27 seconds a day, which is what it's gaining. That could be quite easily tweaked to bring that down, and no doubt I will end up doing that. Just try it in a couple of the positions. That's crown down, still pretty consistent. We'll do crown up. This is all very quick because I've got to get through them. It is stable, I'll give it that. Don't worry about the rate at the moment, that will sort itself out when it takes its next measurement. But you're looking at the line, and the line is nice and constant, and that's what's all important on this. And lastly, we'll put it on dial down. So yes, so what I can deter from that, it is very, very quick, is that it is set up okay. I mean, if you can live with 30 seconds a day, then that's fine. That probably is in with tolerance from the manufacturer as well. But because the lines always go in the same direction, if I tweaked that, I could get that a lot better, and I know that it's going to be consistent all the way through each position. So the Hangzhou is okay. It's not brilliant out of factory, but we're going to be doing the NH35s next, and I have a very love-hate relationship with these. So this one's going to be next. I've wound it as much as I dare, and like I say, NH35. Now, obviously, if you don't know me, I am a massive Seiko fanboy. I absolutely love my Seikos. However, the NH35, in ones that I've reviewed in the past on my other channel, they never seem to be great out of the box, and these manufacturers like San Martin and others don't seem to regulate them either, I don't believe. So let's start this one off. Let's hope I'm going to be proved wrong. And I actually think I am being proved wrong. That's well, I'm almost speechless. Normally you get a very big beat error. I mean, 0.2, it could be brought in, but it's acceptable. But look at the rate. Now, I don't think I've ever put an NH35 on here and get that reading off the bat. That is absolutely incredible. Let's stress test it. Let's put it in some different positions and see if it stays constant. Well, crown down is even going to be better. That's closed up the beat error. You can see the lines become one line. And we're going to be losing something, but not a lot, maybe 3-4 seconds. Hard to say at this point. Is it going to catch up? There we go, minus 5 seconds. The beat error should improve. There we go. There we go. Right, crown up. Always the stress test, especially on these. So we should see a little beat error creeping in, which we do. But again, it's dropping nicely to the same sort of degree, so it's going to be 5 or 6 seconds in that position. I'd like it to see it. There we go, 6 seconds. And lastly then, dial down and dial down again. I can tell that's going to be okay. So that is probably the best NH35 I have seen yet out of the packet. So maybe San Martin have regulated it. We're going to find out because we're going to test the next one right away. So what I will say about this particular model, it is an older model. So this could be old stock for all I know, and maybe that was from a time when they didn't regulate it. Who knows? Let's put it on. Lift angle is going to stay the same, 53 degrees, exactly the same movement. We don't want the strap wobbling because that sometimes gets picked up. Right, what's going on here? That's two NH35s looking pretty decent. This one's actually got a better amplitude. There is a little tiny speck of noise in the background. We could get rid of that by reducing the gain, because that could still be my chitter chatter. But again, that is decent, isn't it? Both of these are actually better than the ETA clone, which I am absolutely surprised by. So plus 5 seconds a day, I'd be really happy with that all day long. Crown down, are we going to see any difference? No. You can tell instantly, can't you? It looks exactly the same. It's going in the same direction. Of course, realistically, you're supposed to leave these running for ages to get a truer thing, but I'm not going to do that in a review. Just want to make sure that there's nothing obvious. I mean, look at that. That's crown up, and we're not even getting much beat error. The beat error is actually closed up, so wow. Let's see if we get a reading just from my own point of view. Plus 13 seconds. So, okay, it is gained a little bit there, but that's well within the tolerances. I think the tolerances on these is from Seiko is something daft like plus or minus 20 or even 30 seconds. They give themselves a massive window. But there we go. Dial down. Usually the least stressful position, and that goes to show because that's going to be the rate's going to be negligible, looking +2. Yeah, that's what I would have thought. And the beat error is about right, 0.1, maybe almost 0. So there we go. They have all passed the test. That is cracking. Look at that now. That's perfect. Honestly, I did not expect that at all. Look at my reviews of NH35s on my other channel and you will see that some of them are absolutely wild, and I then have to end up regulating them in the video just for my own sanity to see how good we can get them. So I'll end this video where we started with the 3 watches in shot. Which one's your favourite? Are any of them your favourite? Do you like San Martin watches? Do you approve of Homar's watches? Leave your comments below. Now, of course, as I said at the beginning, this video is sponsored by San Martin, and it is during this AliExpress sale, which is where you can buy any of their products or a whole array of products on AliExpress at a heavily discounted price. So now's the time to buy, and of course there are links down below should you wish to buy anything, because that way I will get a little bit of a feedback. It's not going to cost you any more at all, so please have a look. You never know, Christmas is coming just around the corner. Of course it's going to help me too, isn't it? So that's a good thing. So yes, if you want to do anything for this channel, please like this video or like any of my videos. The more likes I get, the more Google's going to promote the channel, the more the channel will grow. I'm hoping to hit the big target of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, which is incredible to do, where I then get monetized and I can make some ad revenue to pay for the time that I put in. And then when we get to that point, I'm going to celebrate and hopefully do a few giveaways as well. So what's coming next? I am going to show you my Lip jump hour watch that I got for my 50th. It's a very vintage watch. It's so uber cool. I'll put a photo of it now for you to see. It's got an interesting story because it had an interesting little repair on it. So I'm going to do that. The batteries have arrived as well for the digital watch. I've still got to figure out how to film that because there's loads of them. There's maybe 30, 40, 50 even, I don't know. There's a lot of digital watches. Could be a long video, or I'm going to break it down into sections. I just don't know yet. But please stay tuned for that. Please subscribe to the channel, leave your comments and like the video, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.